Hello and welcome back to Lombardi Sweep. As soon as we went live, my connection dropped. So hopefully we're live right now. I'm showing a couple bars. I don't know why I wouldn't have internet, but hello, welcome back. My name is Zach Bruner. With me is Trevor Land and Luke Reimer, as always. And we have some rookie minicamp stuff to go over. And last week we recorded while the schedule basically dropped. We said we would give our official predictions, go game by game, and figure it out. You can basically lock these in. Unfortunately, Packers season-long bets aren't up right now. For some reason, Aaron Rodgers somehow impacts the Packers' odds a little bit. Who'd have thunk it?
Doesn't make sense to me.
I know, right? It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. If we got Jordan Love, Blake Bortles, Ben Kurt, who cares? Who cares at this point? How's your guys' week been? This isn't going to be a super packed show, so let's riff a little bit here.
Some fluff.
Yeah, we're already. Let's get off track before we get to the meat of this thing.
The week's been good. Kind of going around. It seems to go a little quick now with the job, but a lot of good sports on. Playoffs starting for hockey and basketball. Football is kind of hitting that down slope where there's not a whole lot going on. So we kind of get all the off-season headlines where nothing turns out to anything. But that's part of the fun of it too.
Yeah. Life's going well. As always, though, if you have a point you're trying to make and you're using facts to back it, it's okay to be wrong if your facts are incorrect. It's okay. I'm not perfect. None of us here are perfect. The only way you're going to be a laughing stock is you keep trying to insist you're right when you're wrong. So, that's. I don't know why I'd bring that up. It's not like I had anything going on Twitter, social media this week or anything. But yeah, just throwing it out there. It's okay to be wrong sometimes.
We're looking at you, people who think Amari Rodgers and Randall Cobb are the same player.
Yeah, we can get into that when we talk about rookies here. Aside from rookie stuff, the only news this week amongst Packers obviously centers around Aaron Rodgers. He snuck to Hawaii, and that's a big deal for some reason. So everyone reported on that. I can only assume it's because he's meeting with Marcus Mariota because the Raiders were one of his targeted teams. So I'm guessing there's some sort of negotiations. The Raiders sent Marcus Mariota as a talking piece. So maybe something goes down in Hawaii. Who knows?
Personally, I think they're introducing him to be the next head coach for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. That seems like the only thing that can make sense. Or he just wants to really coach the Pro Bowl next year, and he's getting ready.
Possibly. That's possible. I'm not sure if they're still doing it in Hawaii, but they might be moving it back.
My guy Kenny Mayne, who just is leaving ESPN, said that Rodgers is going to be on Monday.
I know. It'll be interesting to see if he drops anything.
Right.
I can't imagine he's going to have much time because it's like 5 people in like an hour, but we'll see. It's for sure going to be like the top-rated sports center there's been in a half decade or so. Like people are going to be watching.
Since they got rid of the ticker.
Yeah, damn it. We need the ticker back.
Right.
That's what we should introduce to this audio-based show.
Wait, they don't even have a ticker? I haven't watched for so long. I haven't even paid attention. Yeah, disappointing.
It's the only thing they had going for them. Let's get to minicamp stuff here. I will criticize per usual to start, and then we'll get into the good stuff. My only frustration with minicamp is the Packers have, like every other team, have 5 tryout spots. You can bring in 5 people, veterans, to try out. They only use 3 of them. And I don't understand the thought process to do that. Because there's always somebody who breaks out. Alan Lazard was a tryout guy. You have people like Kumaro and, someone who usually contributes. Around the league, there's always people who contribute. And I don't know why you wouldn't even use those spots. It just doesn't make sense to me. Packers used 3. It was Ben Kurt, Chad Kelly, those were the two quarterbacks, and then they brought in Aaron Jones's brother, Alvin Jones, and then they gave Kurt the job, like the fourth quarterback job, possibly third quarterback job, because I saw him throw a ball through a net, which is pretty impressive, and I haven't seen Jordan Love do that quite yet. So I don't know. But like, what's your guys' thoughts? Do they feel like there's going to be too many people in the room? Because that doesn't make sense to me. Why would they do that?
Go ahead, Luke. Okay. Logistically, you would fill every single spot and just have people work out for something and see if one of them sticks.
Right.
Chad Kelly, my guy from Ole Miss, Swag Kelly, he's probably going to make the list of Packer quarterbacks I wish were on the team, right up there with Vince Young. But it doesn't make sense. Spots, there's 5 spots for a reason. Not filling them is just ludicrous in my eyes. Why not bring someone in? It doesn't hurt anything. If it doesn't work out, get rid of them and move on to the next spot. You're in the same exact spot as you are now if someone doesn't work out, for a couple days in minicamp.
Well, and to your point, Luke, I mean, what's the worst thing that happens? They suck and you don't waste anything anyways. Like, that's literally the worst case scenario. So if you're given these spots, why not take it? And you obviously need depth. That's why you're drafting guys who can play multiple positions. So it seems interesting you do that. But when given the opportunity to see multiple people that could possibly give you depth, you only fill 3 out of the 5.
Well, especially with positions like wide receiver, just because you see people from nowhere break out at wide receiver. Same thing with running backs, even though the running back was pretty much full there. But there really weren't wide receivers outside of Rodgers who we drafted. The big reason why these D3, D2 wide receivers don't get drafted is because you don't see them against competition. So you should bring those guys in at the very least just to see if they pass the eye test. Who knows? Maybe you get Adam Thielen, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense not to bring skill positions like that in. It just makes too much sense. Or like a punter, like bring a fucking punter in. Let's see if he can boom it, because we have one who can't. So, or put him through some of those tackling drills, because JK can't do that shit either. Let's get a multi-tool, a la Blake Bortles at the punting position and get something. We need a playmaker, just bring somebody in.
Yeah, we need a Dan Arnold. And how are you going to find a Dan Arnold if you don't bring in D3 prospects? I don't understand.
For real, though, I mean, he's a legitimate contributor in the NFL. He's not amazing, but he's had some big plays. He should get signed at some point. I'm pretty sure he's still a free agent, but he's a contributor.
I thought he was signed with Arizona. I'm not sure, though. I mean, either way, it doesn't really matter, but yeah.
Yeah. That was my only frustration. There's good stuff that came out of minicamp, though. I've been really critical of Josh Myers. I still am. However, listening to him speak, I like the way he speaks a lot. I feel like I can figure out alignment a lot just by the way they talk. That's why I have come away more negative about Royce Newman, because he keeps talking about how he likes getting help, because that's why he likes guard better, because he likes getting help. He keeps talking about being unable to adjust to speed. It's like, I don't want to hear that from a guy we just drafted. Josh Myers, he says a lot of the right things. He's a good worker. I still don't think he should be a starter. I definitely don't think he should be a center. One of the things he said that I found extremely interesting, and again, no one else is reporting this because no one else has a brain. He was talking about how the coaches have told him, or what he said is, I'm trying to stay flexible so I can play multiple positions, just depending on where they want me. And I find that really interesting, because there has to have been a conversation from the coaches with that, because he's never taken another snap anywhere. Everyone's touting him as the clear starting center. He wouldn't just say something like that out of the blue. And I think that's good, but it's also something that needs to be reported, because everyone's assuming he's the starting center, and his skill set says he shouldn't be. And he's also saying he may not be. However, in minicamp, he did take all of his, snaps at center for whatever it's worth.
Well, first of all, watch what you wish for, okay? Because now tomorrow Rob Domofsky is going to tweet this out, no credit again, and hey, it's out there, but again, the source doesn't get any credit. But to your point, yeah, and Zach, I know we talked off air. I'm sure Luke picked up on this too. The reporters, I mean, horrible, just horrible with the rookies. Very obvious with Shamar Jean-Charles. They had no clue what he did. One of the reporters just flat out asked him, "What'd you do on special teams?" Soft. Obviously, you're not going to grill these guys, but softball questions. I mean, and what happens when you ask an actual question or when a guy kind of feels like he has to riffraff? You find out a guy like Tadarius Slayton hasn't even met with Joe Barry in 2 days, hasn't even met the guy, doesn't even know what he looks like. So, it's interesting to your point. Now a lot of this stuff is getting reported. I don't know why, because I think it's really important. It's almost like these guys are just going through the motions because things are being said that need to be picked up on that just aren't.
Kind of running off that TJ Slayton train there. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he said that he had to change the way he breathes because of the difference between Florida and Green Bay. I didn't think of it, but now that I think of it, that's not something that I like to hear at all. This guy has to learn how to breathe before he can play football.
And he said, it's not that cold up here. It's May. What did you expect the weather to be like in May? 32?
He's going to be in a rude awakening for January 13th.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to teach him how to breathe in October, in November, in December.
That was one of the red flags with him for sure. I came away from that conversation liking him a lot more just because I know he's a typical D lineman. I know how D linemen talk and think, and him saying, "Oh, I didn't think it was that cold up here." That's something I can relate to a million defensive linemen I've talked to. Like saying stupid shit like that. Like, yeah, of course, you dumb fucker. Like they do that shit all the time, and I like that. So I don't think that's a red flag. Needing to adjust the way he breathes it speaks to him being out of shape, which I do believe he still is. He talked about how he lost a bunch of weight because he would skip meals. He'd go long times without eating. He really doesn't really understand his own body yet. He doesn't know how to eat to fuel his body. That's concerning. However, the NFL is going to take a lot of the responsibility off of him. Well, this means he'll probably swell back up once he's not in the NFL, or even in the off seasons, we could see him possibly having a weight issue. I think a lot of his inefficient play at Florida and in college overall kind of stems back to personal responsibility, and I don't think he was very good at managing himself. And in the NFL, he doesn't have to do that, which is good news. It's not good. It means he's a child, but it is what it is. And there's a lot more people like that than you would like to imagine, I'm sure.
Well, and NFL might not solve all of that because as much as I love him, Eddie Lacy did not have a weight problem in college, and he got one real quick. Love him to death. Love Cheeseburger Eddie. He just developed a problem. So you got to wonder if that's going to keep going. But as for like the personal responsibility, I know Rashawn Gary kind of had flags like that coming in. So not saying he's going to be Rashawn Gary because he's not. But, we've seen it before. Obviously, the Packers brass thinks that that's something that they could easily handle.
I agree. But let's talk about the point you made about him and Coach Barry, because this is another thing that's not getting reported, and it's because Packers reporters don't want to report something negative about the team and frame the team in a negative light, especially right away. They don't want to burn that bridge with Joe Barry because they want to have interviews with him. So it's a political move not to report this. But guess what? There's never going to be a relationship between us and Joe Barry anyways, for the way we talk. So TJ Slayton in the press conference, they asked him about a question with Joe Barry. He says he hasn't been introduced to Joe Barry. Joe Barry hasn't talked with him. He then went on to say he doesn't even know what he looks like, which speaks to they haven't even had a virtual meeting with the defensive coordinator. This is a fifth-round guy. That may not sound like high in the pecking order, but this is the second defensive player that the Packers drafted in the entire draft. So, there isn't a big crop of guys for Barry to look after. to speak to, and he hasn't gotten past Stokes, if he even talked with Stokes. And I'm not 100% positive he did, because I've only seen him speaking with linebackers because that's the only thing he knows about. It goes back to this. Joe Barry's just a glorified position coach at this point, and the other position coaches are taking on greater roles because he's incapable of doing it. And it's just too early for this type of shit to go on. And it's day one. Like, it's really frustrating to me.
I almost wonder if this is actually, let me try to spin it. I can't believe I'm defending Joe Barry. Maybe this is better because we've seen his defenses. His defenses suck historically. So if he's only in charge of the linebackers, when everything, obviously he's still the, defense coordinator, but he's only in charge of the linebackers, that is less stuff that he can possibly ruin. So maybe light at the end of the tunnel with that one.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I was going to pose this question to you guys. I think obviously the correct answer, we know what the correct answer is, but it's more on Joe Barry that he hasn't talked to Slayton yet. But do you think there should be any blame on Slayton for not going up to Barry at all?
Well, he says he doesn't know what he looks like, so he doesn't know who to go up to. Which, I mean, is there blame on him? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But at the same time, he's figuring out what the hell he's doing. He's figuring out how to breathe, Luke. He's got bigger things to worry about. But yeah, I mean, there's blame on both sides, but defensive coordinator doesn't meet with his draft pick, let's figure it out. Especially when Matt LaFleur and everybody continues to talk about him as he's an amazing teacher. It's like he's not only is he not teaching, he's not showing up to class. And it's frustrating. And so let's continue the trend of lazy reporting. Reporters didn't report on that, even though that seemed to be the biggest takeaway. The way they speak about these rookies, and I understand rookie minicamp, there isn't many takeaways. Like, you can't judge someone as they do reps on air. But they continue to have extremely lazy reporting. Trevor, you talked about the Rodgers to Randall Cobb comparisons, which continue to pop up every single day because Rodgers is a guy who can line up at multiple positions, and he plays for the Packers. And I would love for there to be another comparison because there really isn't one. Sure, he can play the same positions as Randall Cobb did. That's fantastic. It's also different positions in this offense because it's a different offense. There's no Randall Cobb role in this offense, and he's not going to create a Randall Cobb role because he doesn't play like Randall Cobb. Trevor, I'm sure you have more fuel to go off on this argument here.
Yeah, if the reason why we don't have a Randall Cobb in this offense isn't because we don't have a Randall Cobb type player. It's, to your point, because we don't have a role. Like you said, we would put somebody else in that role. It's not like you don't have somebody so you don't fill it, and people are saying, oh, his speed's close. Yeah, 0.06 seconds. When, Zach, you did the math, that's 11% slower. The difference between Tyreek Hill and Darnell Savage is 0.07. Is anybody thinking Darnell Savage can even hold his jock strap in a race? The weight is different. The height, although only an inch, is different. The catch radius, different. Separation, different. And it boggles my mind that when you tell people, this is the NFL, it's a game of inches, your stats better be pretty damn close for it to be comparable on multiple things. It seems like you press people on that and they can't even back it up. If you cannot back up your comparison, it's not a comparison. So I'd argue anybody that sees a comparison that sucks, ask them what makes them think that, look into it, because most of the time it's just going to be slot receiver Packers, Randall Cobb. Guess what? If he was on Denver, Emmanuel Sanders. New England, Wes Welker. It's just who they had, a name that's going to get the fans somewhat excited so they click. Outside of that, nothing. It's really nothing. It's sad. It's lazy, whether people want to admit it or not. But, apparently people who listen to sports or read it, for the most part of the masses, they just want quick and lazy. I guess that's what it is.
I think the thing is, too, is that I don't necessarily see that happening because Randall Cobb is like one of the greatest first games in NFL history. With this,
Mhm.
everyone remembers his touchdown return against the Saints. It's going to take some time for, if people even want to make that comparison for Amari Rodgers to get integrated in this offense, develop, because no one else in NFL history has had a Randall Cobb first game. Amari Rodgers isn't going to. So Amari Rodgers is going to have to develop before he becomes, what people think that he is now.
I agree. And he, just as a person, continues to grow on me. I think he's going to be an amazing person. I told the show last week, I just think he's a guy's guy. I think he's going to be a good football player. I think he's a better football player than he is an athlete. And watching minicamp highlights only proved that even more to me. I just don't think he's a premier athlete. I think he has amazing hands. I think he's a good route runner with a lack of burst and quickness, which doesn't really cut in the NFL, unfortunately. I think he's going to play above his athletic limitations. I think he's going to make some plays. I don't think he's Randall Cobb. Like, if you just watch or look at the two stands side by side, they're built completely different. Randall Cobb is a smaller wide receiver, and he's built, Rodgers is built like a running back. Like, his weight is carried differently. He's stockier, more muscle, built like Ty Montgomery. If you need to make a comparison to a Packer, it's Ty Montgomery. However, Ty Montgomery didn't have a long, great career as a Packer, so reporters don't really want to make that comparison, obviously. That's not something you go into the season and say, I hope he can be the next Ty Montgomery. Oh, God, that'll be such a good draft pick if that's what happens. But that's kind of where we are. So I understand what reporters are doing, but it's also lazy, it's irresponsible, and it's wrong. Like, if anyone watches film, understands football, it doesn't take too long to say it's not a good comparison.
Well, and, just for people out there, when we say Amari Rodgers isn't Randall Cobb, I can't believe we have to say this, but that's not us saying Amari Rodgers sucks. Just because two guys aren't comparable, we're not saying they suck. I like Amari Rodgers, just like you, Zach, just probably like you, Luke. Just because he's not comparable to a great player does not mean he's not a liked and or good player. It seems that it's either or somehow.
Trevor, I'd like to apologize, too, that I didn't get my memes ready for your Twitter interaction.
Hey, what?
I was working or doing whatever, and I saw it this morning. I'm like, God damn, I should have got those going.
You know what? It's okay. Because, and I told Zach, for him to not back it up, go against himself, then play the victim card, then start cursing, and then delete every single tweet manually, which is about 14. If you're right and you really showed me up, usually it's not what you do. I'm not here to say, oh, look, I beat a guy on Twitter. Cool. I don't care. But just don't be a fool. Like, is it that hard? I guess it is. I don't know. But Zach, to your point, I will admit in a couple podcasts ago, I said I had not been confrontational. I'm confrontational now. I can finally agree with you on that.
I will say too that people should be on the lookout for my memes because our Flurry-owned comrade Jake got in a little scuffle with Delta Airlines that I'll be sending some stuff their way tonight.
Good. Yeah, that's bullshit. To continue with the bad comparisons, obviously Packers reporters continued with it. I believe, I can't remember who they had for Royce Newman. For Van Lanen, they said TJ Lang. Or no, they said Josh Sitton. I think for Lang, it might have been Royce Newman, which, again, okay, so we just drafted 2 starting offensive linemen, I'm sure. Obviously, Josh Myers was Lindsley because they both went to Ohio State and played center. For TJ Slayton, they compared him to Johnny Jolly, which, again, unbelievably bad comparison. It's not even close. They don't play the same thing.
I was even seeing comparisons to Gilbert Brown.
It's so bad. Like, if you want to make a comparison to a good Packers defensive lineman, a good Packers defensive tackle, and again, this is wrong for me to make this to connect these dots. He's more comparable to BJ Raji for a ton of reasons. Personality-wise, off-the-field issues-wise, personal responsibility-wise, playing style-wise. BJ Raji can plug the gaps. He can play the run. But BJ Raji is sneaky quick. He can get after the quarterback. He can be a pass rusher, much like Kenny Clark on the inside, and that's what TJ Slayton is. TJ Slayton can plug gaps. He can do this stuff. He gets lazy. He struggles with stamina and stuff like that and discipline. He's just like BJ Raji, except for his ceiling is much lower. Make that comparison.
Yeah, it seems like it couldn't be possibly that hard either to like make a comparison. If you really want to like not be down, say this is what he could be or this is what he could be, and label both. So at least you don't look like you don't know what you're doing. Because like you said, he's not a BJ Raji, but he's closer to a BJ Raji. So obviously somebody isn't doing their homework.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Johnny Jolly's bad because he plays D tackle. That's it. Dude, they don't play alike at all. It's just stupid. What else about minicamp? So Packers did do the quarterback tryout between Chad Kelly, Kurt Benkert. Benkert got the last spot on the roster, so he's the fourth quarterback. That means there will be 3 at camp, unless Aaron Rodgers makes a nice quick trip from Hawaii, which I don't imagine that's going to happen. So it'll be Jordan Love, Blake Bortles, and Kurt Benkert. Great. Kurt Benkert, by the way, professional gamer. He's on a professional gaming team, so I'm glad he got the tryout spot over, quarterback. But that's fine.
Speaking of the roster here, Zach, you tweeted out something with the 90-man roster, and I tweeted back at you about Coy Cronk. I think that's my new favorite Packer because that is a name.
That is a good name. That is a very good name.
You know, something that does not at all relate to rookies, but that I'm questioning. Did Ty Schmidt get to visit Aaron Rodgers in California? That's what I'm wondering. Did all this shit go down afterwards? That would be the crime of the century if he lost out because fucking Gutekunst couldn't keep his mind straight.
I don't think he has, because we're talking about Pat McAfee's crew right now for those who are listening. Boston Connor also needs to do an Oklahoma drill against AJ Dillon on the beach, and they were going to do that in California. That also has not happened.
Did you see Dillon crushed a watermelon with his quads today?
Yeah.
That was impressive, but also scary at the same time. I don't know which one it was.
I don't know what your guys' rankings are, but I think AJ Dillon's one of the top ones who I would not want to do an Oklahoma drill against in the NFL.
No. The big thing with that is they used to play in the same high school league. So Boston Connor was like the 8th guy to try to tackle him on the play, and he pushed him out of bounds. And he was bragging about how he laid him out and stuff, and then they got him on the show. And that's how this challenge came about. I'm hoping we see it happen, but we also may watch a murder on live video, and I'm a little nervous for him. I would not want to do that. It's stupid.
Who would you rather tackle in an Oklahoma drill? Dillon or Derrick Henry? I don't think it's close, personally.
Who would I not want to?
Yeah, like if you had to pick one, who would you choose to have to tackle?
I would rather tackle Dillon just because he doesn't run downhill. Like if he learns to run with power, I'd probably rather tackle Henry. But at this point, Dillon just still runs like he's Barry Sanders.
That's what came to my mind too. I think so. Derrick Henry is just an animal who can run all over the field wherever he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants. And AJ Dillon, like you said, Zach, he can't do that.
For me, looking at Derrick Henry's workouts, he looks like he'd be perfectly fine with killing a man on the football field. So I'm not going to test that. So I'm going Dillon too.
After that stiff arm to Josh Norman last year that Derrick Henry had, I don't think I want to be around that.
To another century. That's disgusting. Anything else to say about rookie minicamp before we give our official predictions for the season that you can lock in right now? No? Okay, so at least for my predictions, I can assume the same for you guys. I'm having the mindset that Aaron Rodgers is playing quarterback. Because if we throw in quarterback by committee, if we throw in Jordan Love, Blake Bortles, hey, all hell could break loose at this point. So let's just hope Aaron Rodgers is week 1 starter. How do you guys want to go about this? Do we want to give just the overall record first and then go game by game, break down the schedule? Does that make the most sense, do you think?
I think so.
Okay. So I'll go first. I went through it, and I am giving the Packers a 12-6 record. What about you, Trevor?
Can I actually do it at the end? Because if we know one thing about me, it's that I change my mind so frequently that I'm going to get to that and I'm going to be off by like 3 wins. So I'll go game by game.
12-6, you said?
Yep.
Okay. So then I would be at 14-4.
Or not 12-6. It'd be 12-5, rather.
Yeah.
17 games.
17
Oh,
games.
yeah. So I'll be 13-4.
Okay. Let's just start this off. Week 1, we go to New Orleans. Not a great place to play, but we talked about last week how New Orleans struggles in week 1s. I believe they are 3-7 over the past 10 years. It's also, the first week 1 without Drew Brees in forever. There's going to be a lot of chemistry issues, I believe. I think there's going to be kinks that are still not worked out. So personally, I think this is the best time for the Packers to play a team like the Saints, who had so much turnover, and the Packers are fielding pretty much the same exact team. So I'm thinking the Packers get a win week 1.
This is with Aaron Rodgers. I just want to double check, right?
Yeah.
With Aaron Rodgers, it's a win. Jameis Winston, if he's a starter, I don't feel confident about him. And I think the Saints were already one-dimensional. We all knew that. They're about to be even more one-dimensional now. They're just going to feed Kamara, and you just put 2 guys on him. I don't know how they beat you.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think this might even be a big blowout for Green Bay. If Joe Barry's all about the blitzing linebackers, I think that just takes either Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston straight out of the game, because Taysom Hill can't throw. Jameis Winston loves to throw into quadruple coverage when he's pressured. But about 10 minutes ago, I mentioned that Amari Rodgers is not going to have a Randall Cobb game against the Saints. How funny is it that they play week 1?
Yeah, it really is shaping up for all the Randall Cobb to Amari Rodgers comparisons. I can't wait for week 1 for that. But we're all thinking win week 1. Week 2, Monday Night Football, they play Motor City, Dan Campbell, and the Detroit Lions at Lambeau. I'm actually worried about this game, but I am giving the Packers a win since it's at home, it's prime time. Lions still don't really have a receiver to talk about, so I think Jared Goff will probably be Jared Goff in this game.
Yeah, I say win. I think it could be a blowout, but I think it could also be really, really close. Blowout because the Lions, it's week 2. They're still not really going to be in the swing of their new scheme. But it could also be really close because, they only had Galladay for a game last year too, like full game. So they really haven't had a wide receiver. DeAndre Swift's going to be better. I actually really like their head coach. I thought he was an idiot at first, but he's really seemed to be the guy that's going to change them around. So, but I still have them getting a win 2-0.
Yeah, I think the era of Packers-Lions games where Packers trail the whole game and then win on a last-second field goal, I think that may be over with the quarterback change, a coaching change, whatever. But this is the first game that fans are going to be back in Lambeau Field. There's no better fan base than the Packers. Fans are going to be fucking hyped up for it. Monday Night Football. People are going to be tailgating all day. Everyone's going to be drunk in the stadium. Fans are going to go nuts. I think Packers rally around that easily with the best home field advantage. This just shaping up to a Packers, 59-0 game to me.
I didn't even think about, this is going to be the first game back with fans, Monday Night Football, Detroit Lions, divisional game. That's going to be insane. Week 2 Lions are out for a lot of books. Obviously, no Packers Lions are out. But as soon as we get the Aaron Rodgers news, Packers odds come out, that is going to be an interesting game to look at right away. See where that's at. Week 3, another primetime game, Sunday Night Football. We travel west to the West Coast to take on the 49ers. I give the Packers little to no chance. Packers don't travel west well. Packers don't play LaFleur sucks against his former coaches. I just don't like the way this game's shaping up at all. So I think it's a loss personally.
Yeah, and a short week too. Although they do play Sunday night, still a short week. And with obviously that defense is legit, they're going to be back. And with that offense, with Joe Barry's blitzing scheme, I think they have just enough wrinkles with Kittle, gadget plays with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, just enough to always keep them on the back foot. I don't see a win.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat with you guys here. It would be nice if we had a healthy offensive line for this one, because if we did, I think that this could shape out for game of the year to start the year. Trevor, just like you said, with all the wrinkles that Shanahan has there with Kittle running the ball, getting the ball to his backs out in space, whatever. And Aaron Rodgers, how we know how good he is, how he's carried teams in the past. I could see this being a high-scoring game if there was an offensive line. But I can see this being, maybe a 7-point loss, or even as far as like a 21-point loss. I don't think they win. I don't know if they lose short or lose close, lose bad, but it doesn't seem like a winning situation as of right now.
Since you did speak about offensive line, I need to go off on Peter Bukowski really quick. It's just kind of obligatory Peter Bukowski talk here. You're a fucking idiot if you think he posed the question. I think it's time that the Packers move Elton Jenkins to right tackle full time, like once Bakhtiari comes back. That is the stupidest just point of view ever. So we would move Elton Jenkins to right tackle. Jenkins can play any position at an elite level. That's not the issue. But that means we put Billy Turner on the sideline, or we put Billy Turner at right guard where he sucks. Like, he's a true tackle. This is coming from a reporter who has a check mark, so he's technically reputable, but he has no idea about anything offensive linemen do, anything offensive linemen, any analysis on the position. So assuming Elton Jenkins moves to the right tackle, that means we're not putting the best 5 on the field. Yada, yada. But he posed this question because it sounds like, Packers just drafted 2 guards, so now we have 2 starting guards.
That's the perfect definition of like being so nearsighted you can't see the whole picture. Like, yeah, Elton Jenkins could play there. What about everybody fucking else? Like, that changes the whole line. You can't just put him there. You got to displace somebody. You can't add another offensive lineman.
Well, he's also talking like Royce Newman and Van Lanen are the 2 starting guards. It makes no sense. Why would you think that? That's just so stupid. I don't get it. I don't get it. He's so bad. Also, sticking on the offensive line talk, I like, what's his name? Wes Hod. I like him.
Yeah.
For the most part. He shouldn't talk about offensive line. Like, just talk about everything else, because he's talking about how it's amazing that the Packers have a 6'6" center now. This is what the Packers need. We haven't had a guy like this in decades, and now the Packers might have the best offensive line in football because he's 6'6". Oh, he's 6'6". He's got the size. He's 6'6". Oh, my God. Like, can anyone stop us? He's so big. He's 6'6". What does big mean to you? What do you think size means on the offensive line? And especially, what do you think 6'6" means at center? I'm not saying a tall center is bad. I'm not saying a tall center is worse necessarily. However, it's for sure more annoying for a quarterback when they're 3 to 4 inches taller than the last center. It's also bad when clearly one of his biggest knocks is he gets too high. He has bad form. He gets off balance, even though you keep talking about how he gets low and gets under the defensive tackles, and that's why he's fine at 6'6". No, he gets high, he gets pushed over, he whiffs on blocks. So now he's a 6'6" guy in cleats playing too high. Thank God we got him at center. Like, now can anyone stop us? That's such an ignorant statement to make. Somebody
never told him that size isn't the only thing that matters, huh, Zach?
Yeah, I guess not. He's never had that talk with someone. Okay, week 4. Week 4, the Packers are at home. They get a bye week, essentially, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe I'm hating on the Steelers too much this year, but I think they might be close to the worst team in that division. Their offensive line is embarrassingly bad, and Joe Barry knows only one thing, and that's to blitz. And Ben Roethlisberger may not survive the game from my point of view. So I think this is a Steelers loss. I almost said win. Packers win. So Packers moved 3-1 for me.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm taking one of my buddies to his first game ever at Lambeau this game. Perfect game to take it to because they're going to beat the crap out of the Steelers unless something crazy happens. Like you said, no offensive line. They have a rookie running back, so that's not going to help. Their receivers can't get open farther than 10 yards down the field, and we have Jair Alexander. So guess what? Your first wide receiver is pretty much already gone. Defensively, they're good, but they lost guys like Bud Dupree. Obviously, they still have decent defense, but when your offense is as stale as theirs and the Packers are blitzing, what are you going to do? It's going to be a blowout. I would say 20 or more points, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more I have to say that you guys didn't say. And spoiler alert, I'm probably going to say the same thing for the next game that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it should be a quick one. Going to Cincinnati the week later. It's going to be a noon one. Previous game was a 3:00 game. Bengals, their offensive line's still bad no matter what everyone's trying to make excuses for now. And I think even it goes past talent. I don't think Zach Taylor knows how to coach offensive line schemes. So they could have 5-star linemen across the board. I think Joe Burrow's still not going to survive the season. He runs naked bootlegs and towards TJ Watt. It just makes no sense. So I think this is an easy Packers win again.
Yeah, I think they go to 4-1. I mean, everybody loves Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow. You don't have an offensive line. Neither of those are effective. They have Jamar Chase. Cool. Again, we have Jair Alexander. So even if he was a bona fide one by the time we play him, which he won't, he's out of the equation anyways. Their defense is not good, and really any defense against Aaron Rodgers, assuming we have him, you're going to need a lot better than that. 4-1.
I will say, too, I agree with you. I think Packers win. I do like what the Bengals are doing at receiver. Obviously, you need a line to get the quarterback to throw to receiver, but they got some talent in their receiver core there.
They absolutely do. They need to figure out tight ends still, but yeah, receivers. I mean, you can't criticize the wide receiver room they have at all. Next week, again on the road at the Bears. Assuming we have Aaron Rodgers, Rodgers kills the Bears. I don't think this is a gimme. I think it's close. I think the Bears made great improvements this offseason. We'll see who's at quarterback. We'll see what the state of that is. There's a lot of questions surrounding the Bears' offense, more so than their defense. But I'm still thinking a Packers win here.
I think it depends. Do the Bears kind of do something like last year, panic too early and start fiddling around with quarterbacks? Because I think if they have Andy Dalton in this game, I think he's enough with that defense to get a win, especially at Soldier Field. They're always a tough draw. If they're already panicking and they're putting in Justin Fields, there's no way in hell they're winning this game. So I think it depends. I think they'll stick with Dalton, though. So for that sake, I'll say a close loss, 4-2.
A common theme here that I'm probably going to bring up is the offensive line health, but this is a spot where Khalil Mack scares me a little bit. But having the best left tackle rookie starting there, Khalil Mack's right over that rookie, and it's going to be a very long day for Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. But I think Aaron Rodgers is good enough. He's handled that how many times in his career. Trevor, I'm kind of in the same boat with you, but I'm going to go the opposite way. I think it's going to be a close win for Green Bay.
Just because I like him and I want to compliment him, Wes Hod did talk about how one of the big things to watch for the Packers running back room this offseason during these camps is the pass protection drills. I'm glad he's one of the few people who actually see this. That's going to be big for this game. We need to have pass protection to help on wherever Khalil Mack is. It doesn't matter if Bakhtiari's there or not. We still need to help with him. And across the board, the Bears pass rush is no joke. I think we need to respect that. Hopefully someone emerges as capable of being a pass protector. But yeah, we all agree it's going to be close. One play could make the difference. Week after that, it's another one that was tough for me to grade personally. Home game versus the Washington football team. Fitz Magic comes to town. Washington's no joke. They don't get much respect. They didn't get respect last year. I am still going to go with a Packers win. I think it's going to be low scoring, but with low scoring games like this, I think the Packers have more offensive abilities, more offensive playmakers, and I think it'll be a close, like a 3-point win. I think they just have just enough offense to get by.
Yeah, I think this might be a game where, ironically, Joe Barry might help if he has a good game, simply for the fact that I think you need to get pressure to Fitzpatrick, and Pettin didn't like sending it all the time. Granted, again, because he couldn't most of the time. But this kind of reminds me of early 2010s, like those Packers 49ers games. The 49ers had a great defense, not much of an offense. But this one at Lambeau, this defense is good, but I think Aaron Rodgers is too good, and I don't think Washington has enough weapons offensively because we have the better version of Curtis Samuel. So 5-2 for the Packers.
Anyone who's been following me for the last 6 or so months knows I'm a full-fledged Washington football fan. I love their defense. I think it's legit. I think it's upper echelon of best in the NFL. That defense line is scary as hell. But this is usually about the time that Ryan Fitzpatrick starts to slow down Fitzmagic. He's probably the best quarterback in NFL history for the first 4 games of the season every single year. But once they get going, that defense just scares the hell out of me. Though Chase Young, I think, is a stud. The whole defense scares me. I think that Washington's getting disrespected a lot for some unknown reason in my mind. They have the 22nd best odds to win the Super Bowl. But I think this might be a statement game for Washington to say, we're here. We're going to beat one of the best teams in the league. I think they're going to be out for blood, especially against a Packers team that made the NFC Championship this year. I could really see the Packers losing this one. So I'll take Washington in a close game here.
Yeah, that's a scary game, and it's followed up with another scary game. Short week, Thursday Night Football, going to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals, and this could go 2 ways very easily. So short week, not much game plan. It is an advantage for the Packers because I don't think Cliff Kingsbury knows how to coach. I don't think Kyler Murray is getting that experience from a coach. I don't think they'll be ready. I don't think they'll game plan very well for the Packers, to be completely honest. So that's where I think the Packers have the advantage. The disadvantage is it's a short week and they don't have live reps in practice, and preparing for a quarterback like Kyler Murray, who's going to run all over the place. That's hard to game plan for on a really short week. Also, who do the Packers have to mimic him? It might be Blake Bortles at this point, to be completely honest. So it's really close, but I think coaching prevails. I think Aaron Rodgers prevails, the experience from him alone in this type of game. So I'm going to go the Packers win, and they move to 7-1 for me.
I say the Cardinals, because with Joe Barry's blitzing scheme that we're assuming he's going to bring, if there's one thing the Packers do, granted it's of the past, but it's probably going to carry over, they whiff on tackles. If you whiff on tackles on Kyler Murray, he really doesn't have to complete all that many passes. His defense is better. We've never had good success with running quarterbacks, so I'd go Cardinals. But to your point, this game could go multiple ways, because if Kyler Murray has a bad game or even a below-average game, the Packers are going to blow him out of the water. I just think he's competent enough for a Cardinals win.
Yeah, Zach, I was going to bring up coaching as well, like you just did. I think we've seen the last couple of years that LaFleur kind of gets out-coached by some of the younger guys, Shanahan especially. I think this is a game where Matt LaFleur out-coaches Cliff Kingsbury and kind of tries to end that narrative a little bit. I think, maybe I should have brought that up at the Washington game. I think they might be looking forward to this game a little bit more than Washington planning for the week, knowing it's on a short notice there. But the way to stop running quarterbacks is you get after them quick. If the blitzing gets there, then Kyler Murray is going to be uncomfortable for the rest of the game. So if Joe Barry's whole blitzing scheme is what we think it is, then I think this should be an easy win for Green Bay.
This really, I think, is a statement game for Kyler Murray too, because I'm really critical of Kyler Murray, and I think this is a game where he could. First off, I think he's going to do the same thing as last year: start good, then Once coaching catches up, once teams scout them, then he sucks again. I think this is a game where the blitzing and the pressure could make him regress to the same type of player he continues to regress to, where all of his passes are within like 2 yards to the line of scrimmage. Half of them are behind the line of scrimmage. He doesn't throw downfield. And if that's the case, they have no chance because it takes DeAndre Hopkins out of the game as well, which is perfect. That's what happened last year. So if he makes those changes, though, and starts looking downfield, Cardinals could be a Super Bowl contender. We just need to see. Week after that, thank God the Packers have a long week. They go to Kansas City. Tough game. I think Kansas City is out for blood this year. I think they are going to just kill people. And I think that is going to be the case for this Packers game. 2 road weeks in a row. There's a couple of really tough games coming up that I think people are going to be looking ahead to. This just isn't a fun one. I'm going to go with a loss here.
Yeah, I'm going for a loss. I say they go to 5-3. The only way they beat this Chiefs team is if they get to Mahomes like Tampa Bay did. Even with Barry's blitzing scheme, they don't have the personnel to do that. They don't have the abilities to do that. It's at Arrowhead. I mean, there's just no way. I don't see a way this happens. I think this is going to be a game where the Chiefs beat the Packers bad, and we see that narrative of, is Aaron Rodgers washed or the Packers done for, all that crap, even though they don't match up well at all in a regular season game halfway through the season. So 5-3.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you guys here. Just from my watching, I've been watching Patrick Mahomes since he was in high school. I think this dude is like one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play. Like, oh, fuck you, Luke. What does that mean? He's only played 3-4 years. Like, this dude can make any throw anywhere. He's got an MVP. He's got a Super Bowl. He's got a Super Bowl MVP. This guy is legit. People need to understand that this guy is, he's a guy. The X factor in this game is the X factor in every Chiefs game is Tyreek Hill, is the speed. How do you stop Tyreek Hill? You can't stop Tyreek Hill. And that's why the Chiefs are so fucking good, because they have Tyreek Hill. They can do anything they want. And that just leaves the middle of the field wide open for Travis Kelce, who's maybe one of the best football players in the NFL. But when you think of the Chiefs, you think of speed and Tyreek Hill. This is just how this offense is built. I think Tyrann Mathieu is just a ball hawk on defense. Obviously, Rodgers is not going to throw interceptions, but I could see, a lot of Rodgers not trying to throw deep because of it, just trying to hit guys over the middle, but here and there. But I'm with you guys. I think Chiefs. I think it'll be a good game. I think it'd be a fun one to watch. But I think Chiefs will take this home, bringing my total to 7-3, I believe.
Real quick, let me change mine. Not change my. I just got the numbers wrong. The Packers are 5-4, not 5-3. I cannot count. That 5 + 3 does not, in fact, equal 9. So just like to clear that up.
Yeah, this game, I would assume this is going to be a shootout. Just when you're talking, Luke, I have no idea how the Packers have any chance to match up. Because if they do what they are saying they want to do and move Jair to that star role, Jair's might travel with Tyreek Hill. And that's fine. I think he has a good shot to actually shut down Tyreek Hill. I think Jair is that good. Who could even run with Travis Kelce? There's no chance guarding him. He's going to kill the Packers. And I think the Chiefs' offensive line's fine. I think they're a lot better. They signed Kyle Long somehow. They get Dr. Tardy, for whatever his name is, back from here in Canada from COVID. They signed some other people. I think their offensive line's fine. And Patrick Mahomes, to your point, Luke, damn good, more than capable of knowing how to beat a blitz.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tough one. And Andy Reid's a genius. But next week, week 10, not much else to say, but Seattle comes to Lambeau. That's a win. Like, I don't need to. No more analysis needed. Russell Wilson can be happy he's back in the Badger State, and that's about it.
You nailed it. 6-4.
Yeah, the dude can't play at Lambeau.
No. Week after that's a tough one, going to Minnesota. It's going to be tough. Going to Minnesota is always tough. I'm really critical of the Vikings this year just because I do think they make good decisions in the offseason. I do think they had a great draft. I still don't know who's going to play corner outside of Patrick Peterson. And I also watched Patrick Peterson play last year, and he's not his normal self. So I think they are more than beatable. However, I'm thinking the first of 2 Vikings games is going to be a loss, especially after this run of really tough games, and we still don't have a bye week yet. So I'm going to go loss. How many games are we in? 11. So that's 8-3 for me.
I say they win, and I say they win handily. They don't have corners at all. Kirk Cousins and blitzes don't mix. I can see them at least somewhat effectively bottling up Cook for enough time where they can't run the ball anymore. And, you talk about the long stretch, the hard stretch. I think with that stretch, I think they want blood, and they want blood now. And I think they just come out like a man possessed against Minnesota and get a win. When I say win by a lot, I don't mean win like beat the Steelers by 30. But I say 2-possession game, so 7-4 Packers.
Yeah, just to go along with that, Trevor, I agree with you. They're out for blood. This is the time that they need to kick it into high gear. And who better to do it against than a division rival, a hated division rival at that. Shut the fans up over there in Minnesota and just get after it against Kirk Cousins. It's not good when you only know who one corner is against Aaron Rodgers. So I think this has the makings of a beatdown in my mind. I think that puts me along with you, Zach, at 8-3.
If I can interject real quick too, remember the last time these teams played, they beat us at our house. So I think that's even more for the blood part.
True.
I think they get the loss there, and I think they follow it up home against the Rams right before the bye week. I think the Packers going to be beat down physically and mentally. I think LaFleur is going to get. I think McVay is going to coach circles around LaFleur. I don't think that's going to be close. I think McVay spent the past 6 or 7 years with Joe Barry. I think he knows when Joe Barry takes his morning dump every morning. I think he knows absolutely everything about him. I don't think that's going to be close. So I'm going to go with back-to-back losses here going into the bye week. So that would be 8 and what are we doing here? 9-4, 9-3, 8-4. Jesus, 8-4. There we go.
I'm going to go on the opposite side. If there's one thing I know about McVay, granted, he hasn't had a whole lot of talent with Jared Goff. Sorry, Luke. He loves to tinker with shit that should not be tinkered with, a la Cam Akers not playing till like week 14. I don't trust him at all. Their defense has gotten worse. And Matthew Stafford, I think he'll be a great quarterback for them. I just think the Packers know Matt Stafford enough. I don't know. I just can't trust McVay, and it's at home. I think that's a tiebreaker for me. So I say a win. Zach, I'll arrive at the same record as you, 8-4.
Yeah, maybe what I said about Detroit of how we come down to the last second field goal, lose the whole game, come down to the last second field goal. Maybe that's a Matt Stafford thing. That'll happen this game. I'm not going to base it off of that, but I kind of like what you said, Trevor. McVay, we talked about it on the fantasy football show last year. We talked about Cam Akers all the time. McVay gets in his head, doesn't know what's going on, whatever, yada yada. I don't know. I think once Robert Woods is out of the game with Jair Alexander on him, that there's not a whole lot to throw to. I do like Tutu Atwell and Van Jefferson, but I think they're young. I don't know how well they're going to play in the NFL with the new quarterback now. Obviously, Cooper Kupp's there, but I just don't see the offense being what this Rams offense is supposed to be. And last year, Elton Jenkins made Aaron Donald cry, so I think that happens again this year. So I'll take the Packers in a close one here at home. I like the home game against Matthew Stafford. I like the Packers here, so that'll bring me to 9-3, 10-3,
9-3. Rams also got Deshaun Jackson, but he'll probably be hurt at this point anyway.
Right.
But they do have him. So bye week 13 coming out, week 14, Sunday Night Football, home against the Bears. I think coming off the bye, playing at home, prime time, Bears. I think that's a win. I mean, you get multiple weeks to prepare for the rookie quarterback. I think Fields probably starts the year as the quarterback, but he's definitely going to be playing at this point. I think that this should be a fairly easy win.
Yeah, I think Fields is playing. I think he's out of his element because I don't think he should be playing the first year. I think the Bears are already at this point struggling to stay alive in the race with their schedule. They're really desperate for a win. Desperation plus rookie quarterback at Lambeau against Aaron Rodgers. I don't buy it. 9-4.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Sunday Night Football against the Bears. Every single year that we get a game like that, and everyone hypes it up all week. Oh, the greatest rivalry in NFL history. This is gotta be a good game, and the Packers always win 685-0. So that happens again this week, especially with a rookie quarterback. Get after him, bring him to Lambeau for the first time, show him what it's all about. Another game where fans are gonna be all riled up, all drunk, drinking all day, getting ready for the game. This will be a December game, a little bit cold, so it's going to be a fun one in Lambeau. Lambeau's going to be rocking. Packers by 659 points.
Week 15, we go to Baltimore. I think this is a tough one. I don't think Baltimore does have enough offense. I think their running game is subpar. I think their offensive line got worse. I think Joe Barry is capable of stopping the run. That's one of the very few things he's capable of doing. And when it comes down to it, so you're talking about Lamar Jackson under pressure, give me a Packers W for that. So that would be Packers 10-4.
Yeah. And, Lamar Jackson is a tough guy 2 years ago, but last year he did not play well. And to be honest, I'm a little surprised he hasn't gotten hurt yet. It makes no sense by the way he gets hit sometimes. He's not smart when he's running with it and giving himself up. I think he's probably injured by this game, even if he isn't. To your point, he can't throw. And unlike Kyler Murray, they don't have as good of a defense as Arizona, in my opinion, and they don't have as many weapons as Arizona, in my opinion. So I think that swings it, and I just cannot trust the Lamar Jackson-led team. So I think that's a win. I think that's also 10-4 for me as well.
First of all, how is this game a noon game? I feel, this is two of the most exciting teams to watch. But other than that, I think this is a game where the Ravens are in a very close division race with the Browns, and every win is going to matter at this point. I think the Ravens are going to be out for blood. I agree with you guys. I don't think the defense is as great as Arizona. Lamar Jackson's not a great passer, but I think this is a game where two things come together and work nice for them. The Packers kind of get a shock where they're thinking how we're thinking. I also think this is a game where special teams can matter big time. John Harbaugh made a career on special teams. He's been coaching the Ravens for how long based on his special teams. The Ravens have always had great special teams. The Packers haven't really had great special teams in how many years now. So I think a big play happens on special teams, a couple big plays, and that kind of swings the tides a little bit. So I'll go opposite of you. You guys will take the Ravens, and I think that puts us all at 10-4.
Week after that, Saturday game, Christmas game, home against the Browns. I think the Browns are infinitely more talented than the Packers. I think they are better at almost every single position than the Packers. They have more depth than the Packers. I think they're better coached than the Packers. I think the only difference is at quarterback. I think there's going to be a lot of losing focus in this game. I think that many will feel it doesn't matter. I think TJ Slayton still has not figured out how to breathe by this point, so that's going to be a little bit of an issue. Cold, obviously, isn't an issue for the Browns. They're going to pound the rock. I think the Packers are going to struggle to stop it. If they do stop it, play action is going to be there. I think it's a Browns win fairly easily, to be completely honest.
I think it's a Browns win, but I think there are two things to note here. One, Kenny Clark always shows up in December. This is December. Like you said, everything on paper is telling me Browns. The one thing, I'm going to say Browns, but I'm not going to shut the door completely because Christmas at Lambeau Field, if that snow is flying, when the snow is flying at Lambeau on an interesting day, crazier shit has happened. So I'm going to say Browns, but I'm going to say the Packers find a way to make this interesting.
Well, I agree with you, Zach, that the Browns are, good at every other position except for quarterback. I think there's such a in quarterback, and maybe it's I don't believe in Baker Mayfield, but I think this is a game where Aaron Rodgers, with everything going on right now, this is a game where he said, "Shut the fuck up, listen to me, give me the fucking ball, and let me go ball." I think that's what's going to happen. The guy's made a career from incredible. I think this is a on your back Aaron Rodgers game, and I think he prevails like he's done in the past. It'll be a tough one. It'll be a fun one to be at. It'll be a fun one to watch. But I do think that Aaron Rodgers is the guy this game, and this might be I would say a 5-touchdown, 6-touchdown game from Aaron Rodgers.
Kind of like that Tennessee game this past year where he looked untouchable.
Yeah.
Definitely possible. Week 17, it's another primetime game, Sunday Night Football versus the Vikings. Home against the Vikings. Vikings defense never plays well outdoors. In the Mike Zimmer era, I think that continues here. I don't think this is very close. Like I said, I was the only one who thought it was going to be a Vikings win the first time. I think Packers get payback this time. I think it's going to be a big win in the NFC North, and it should be a pretty good beatdown.
I'm going to go on a limb. I think the Vikings' chances are pretty much squashed at that point. Not completely gone, but I think there's so much needed to happen that it's pretty much dashed. So I think they're kind of down. The Packers want revenge for last year, even though they beat them early in the season. So I'm looking at a win. I'm looking at 11-5.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think this is a win for the Packers. I think the Vikings are at a spot in this game where they need to win this game to make the playoffs or to even, be in consideration. Packers, usually get a Vikings game late in the year. The last couple of years, they kind of dominated them. I'm thinking back to 2 years ago around Christmas when Aaron Jones had an incredible game. Zadarius Smith had a big game. This seems like that kind of game to me, squashing the Vikings' playoff chances and proving that the Packers are, I think after this game, the Packers will be top 3, 4 in power rankings. I think that puts me at 12-4.
Maybe. I thought you had one more loss than us.
No, he had one loss.
I think I said 13-4 for my prediction.
Yeah.
Okay. So last game, week 18, Packers go to Detroit. Obvious trap game. Dan Campbell's going to be having his guys playing hard. Packers, with the way the playoffs are set up, I'm sure will have something to play for. I don't think it really matters. I think Packers win this game against Detroit. Lions suck. So, yeah. Win here, closes it out. I have the Packers going 12-5.
I'm going to take a stance that I don't think many people expect for this game. I think it's Packers' loss. The Packers have played dangerously close at Detroit last couple of years. They've been lucky to get out. Going into this game, I have them at 11-5. I don't think. Is this 8-team playoff structure for here to stay, or is it going to be going back to 6?
It should be here to stay.
Okay, because in that case, to your point, Zach, they have stuff to play for, but the 1 seed is out the window at 11-5. I think they probably have a home game no matter what. I think they're kind of lackadaisical about it. I think this Lions team is finally good enough to burn them. I think late in the season is when they're going to hit their stride. Not going to make the playoffs, but I think enough to get an upset of the Packers, 11-6. But I don't think it's going to be a game where it means anything because, like I said, I think the Packers are in the playoffs at that point.
Yeah, I think every year it ends with the Lions. It feels like I think the Lions give them their best shot, but Zach, this may be a Blake Bortles win for the Packers this week, with all the playoff implications if the Packers are in or not, and it'd be pretty sweet to see a year end with a Blake Bortles win.
I'm hoping I get to do another schedule breakdown with the mindset that Blake Bortles is the starting quarterback because I think it'll be a lot more electric and a lot more W's. It's going to be, if Blake Bortles is playing at Detroit, just so you know, I will also be at Detroit for everyone who knows.
This is a good prediction. I got 11-6. Zach, you got 12-5. Luke's 13-4. So we have a 3-win gap. Where as long as they hit that, we're good.
I don't think so. I think we're pretty good. I can't imagine with Aaron Rodgers, the Packers aren't a double-digit win team. And I also think they got worse. So I can't imagine they win, 14, 15 games. That just doesn't seem realistic, especially with the way the schedule's made up. I mean, there's a tough stretch. At Chicago, home Washington, at Arizona on a short week, at Kansas City, home Seattle, at Minnesota, home Rams. That's going to be brutal. If they can escape that with 2 or less losses, I think that's a win.
17-0. They're not going to get 16 wins because they're going to win all of them.
Right, first 17-0 team. People will remember the name Bortles. They will remember what he has done here today. It's going to be a good time. Any other? We'll do bold takes on a different show. Any other things to say about the schedule?
I don't think so. I think
it's
go ahead, Trevor. Okay. I think that
go, Luke. Run off.
It's awkward.
There's a lot of fun games on the schedule. I think it's a lot of primetime games, a lot of 325 games Monday night. So I think Packer fans are going to have a lot of fun watching football this year.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think this schedule could go multiple ways. If the Packers take care of business early and they start winning some of those tough games, this could be like a freight train that has no stop in sight. At the same time, if they do get tripped up and you see that stretch coming up, some of those questions start popping up again. It could be a nail biter where we get another relax from Aaron Rodgers. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out because this team usually starts slow, and they can't do that this year.
Yeah, if we're thinking of the NFL as a reality show, as it typically is, with the Packers having so many home games towards the end of the season, it does make me scared that they are going to get behind the count and they are in a position to run the table. Aaron Rodgers, playing on his current contract, pissed off, runs the table. Media goes crazy. This is why the Packers should have signed him. Now Aaron Rodgers is going to be in full control in the offseason. Yada, yada, yada. And then they get to the playoffs, lose. Aaron Rodgers' fault somehow. Aaron Rodgers cannot win the big game. Like a cycle every year.
I mentioned a couple breaking down the games here, but I think fans play a huge factor into the season. We didn't have fans last year. I live in Green Bay. There's nothing to do here from September to February. So Lambeau's going to be packed. The whole parking lot's going to be packed. All the surrounding neighborhoods are going to be packed. I think that fans will play a big part in this season.
I think on both sides, like some of the places Packers have to go. Obviously, Soldiers Field's always crazy. Going to San Francisco, to the Saints, to the Chiefs, to the Ravens. Fans are going to be crazy in those games. It's going to be, I'm sure across the league, it's going to be very loud, but especially in those. Bengals probably won't be very loud. Maybe like the sound of, I was going to go dark, the sound of Joe Burrow's femur snapping, echoing across the field. That's about it. I'm not wishing it. I like Joe Burrow. I just hate the Bengals. But yeah, I'll let that echoing of bone snapping carry us off here. Next week, your guess is as good as ours is what we'll be talking about. So stay tuned for that. Later.
Peace out, guys.